Thanks for joining us on this very cold Thursday here in the Metro. Mallory, it's not looking that great.
It's a little rough out there. Yeah, it was a very chilly morning, very frigid. I'm sure you felt it right as you stepped out the door this morning. We had a cold front that tracked through the region overnight, and it really dropped those temperatures. We had a midnight high in the upper 40s. We dipped down into the teens and 20s this morning, and we're looking to stay in the 20s today. 25 at the Louisville International Airport right now, 21 in Bowman Field. Feeling like the teens. It feels like 14 degrees at the airport. Feels like 11 at Bowman Field because we're still dealing with wind gusts up to around 22 miles per hour. So you can take a look at this 24-hour temperature change map. This is the power of that cold front that tracked through the region last night. We're running anywhere between about 10 to 30 degrees colder than this time yesterday. Of course, we had that mild air yesterday despite all of that wind, or actually because of all of that wind. It was coming in from the southwest out ahead of the front. At this point, we're still dealing with wind gusts up to around 22 miles per hour, so not as strong as what we had overnight, which was 40 to 50 miles per hour in some spots, but still breezy enough to drop those feel-like temperatures, drop those wind chills into the teens, a few single digits still lingering at this lunchtime hour. So you definitely want to bundle up as you head out for the rest of your Thursday. Temperatures only topping out in the upper 20s. Lows tonight will be falling back into the teens. So even though it's frigid today, we do have some milder days ahead this weekend. We'll talk much more about that weekend forecast coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Mallory. A Louisville man is charged with a Jeffersonville homicide. Police said they arrested 55-year-old William Davis after the death of 45-year-old James Truman, who was found dead on November 23rd inside of his apartment on Indiana Avenue. That's about a half mile from Big Four Station. Police said this is still an active investigation. Davis is currently at LMDC. A Nelson County woman accused of running an unlicensed daycare appeared in court this morning. The Nelson County Sheriff's Office arrested 27-year-old Caitlin Rogers on November 21st, following a months-long investigation. Deputies said she forced an employee to work without pay and encouraged them to mislead investigators. Rogers is also accused of abusing a child under 12. She is charged with human trafficking and criminal abuse.
My man, give us your hands.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
And that is the moment a gunshot went off during an arrest in Smoketown over a stolen car. We're pausing the video right there with two LMPD officers and the suspect, 20-year-old Jeremiah Thompson, all injured. LMPD blames Thompson for that shooting, and our Ian Hardwick breaks down the body camera video and the heated court exchange that ended with an attorney in handcuffs.
My man, give us your hands.
You're watching three Metro police officers trying to wrestle Jeremiah Thompson's hands free. Then a gun goes off. We froze the video just before that moment on body camera video provided by LMPD. Two officers were shot alongside Thompson, Officer Laxman Akaria and Brendan Kerner. Both men are out of the hospital and on medical leave.
Put your arms back, baby.
A bystander recorded the exchange, urging Thompson to give up his hands like officers asked. Police came to arrest Thompson, alleging he stole a 2018 Kia. On arrival,
What are we doing in this car?
video shows Thompson without his shoe.
Can you get my shoe though?
A shoe that was ultimately in the floor of the driver's side of that stolen car, alongside wires pulled from the steering column, as shown by this picture LMPD provided.
What evidence do you have that he pulled the trigger?
John Olash, Thompson's lawyer, argued that charges for endangering police should be dropped since the gun going off was unintentional.
Now, maybe he was negligent, maybe he was foolish, maybe he should be a better communicator, but that's not part of the statute.
The arguments came after a heated exchange during the probable cause hearing. Ultimately, Olash was held in contempt of court and carried out in cuffs, but no formal charges were filed against him. LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey stands by the work of his officers.
So however you say it, we can play semantics. The suspect had cooperated, he wouldn't have gotten shot, and the officers wouldn't have gotten shot.
How the gun went off is still part of an active investigation. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11, on your side.
Thompson returns to court in January, where a grand jury will decide if his case will move to trial. Well, Metro police are also investigating after finding a body in the Ohio River. This was just after 5 p.m. yesterday near Cox Park in East Louisville. Police and the coroner are working to determine the identity and the cause of that person's death. Police are also asking for your help to solve several homicides, which all happened in the same alleyway this year. Esquire Alley is just west of downtown Louisville in the Russell neighborhood. LMPD said 3 separate murders took place on that street this year. The first in May, when a man was shot and killed inside of a home. Then in August, another man was found with several gunshot wounds and died at the hospital. The last homicide happened in November. A man shot early in the morning died at the scene. Jackie Floyd from the Russell Neighborhood Association says the lack of leads points to a bigger issue between people who live in the area and police.
How safe are you making the people when you don't have a relationship from the people? It's not that they want to live in this community, but they want to be. It's like, am I safe talking to the police, or am I safe keeping my mouth shut as they knock on my door and ask me these questions in front of the whole complex?
LMPD said Esquire Alley is an area of focus in its new crime reduction plan, which includes increased police presence and face-to-face interactions. If you know anything about these 3 cases, there is that anonymous tip line. That's 574 LMPD. The U.S. Supreme Court's looking into a ban on medical treatments for transgender kids to see if it violates the U.S. Constitution. Justices heard arguments yesterday. That case centers around a ban passed in Tennessee. Last year, lawmakers there banned those gender-affirming treatments, in part citing uncertain harm in the long term. A similar ban was passed in Kentucky last year, and that ban directly impacts months of care for Annika Gibson, a graduate of Louisville's Manual High School.
Those 2-3 months without hormones were probably the hardest that I have experienced in a long time. Probably because I knew what I was missing.
Gibson is now 18 and following this case closely. She's concerned if the court upholds the ban, it could open the door to more limitations on care. However, supporters of that ban argue they are only protecting children.
This case is all about protecting the innocence and the bodily integrity of children, preventing them from making a life-altering, irreversible decision when they're young.
The New York Times reported after yesterday's hearing, the justices appeared to be leaning toward upholding Tennessee's law. Their final ruling is expected in June.